Welcome back to the Elise Surkoff podcast, where we help women in perimenopause and menopause thrive unapologetically from the inside out. I am so excited because on the podcast today, we have a very special guest. We have Randy who is joining us, and Randy is our first client who is going to be on the podcast talking a little bit about what her experience has been like in the program to date and how it's changed her and kind of where she's at before and after. So you really have an idea of not just the kind of clients that we help, but the kind of work that we do. Because I always say it goes way beyond just, macros and movement. So welcome, Randy.
Thanks for having me.
Oh my gosh. Thanks so much for being here. And I'm so excited to have you on and hear more about your story. So tell me a little bit about you. How old are you? Where are you from? Tell me a little bit.
Yeah, I'm 48 years old. I live in the United States in Maryland. And yeah, what else would be helpful to know?
I mean, your age. Yeah, I love it. You're just like a little bit older than me. How hormonal are you?
Pretty hormonal. I'm doing all the things right now.
Hormonal as fuck.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly.
All right, cool. So I love this is so special for me to have you here because I talk to a lot of women in the last, we're about to start our 6th year of business, and I've talked to well over 1,000 women on the phone, some of whom have entered our program and left our program, and some of whom decided not to do our program or, didn't want to do our program or for whatever reason. And I'd be lying if I said I remember every single person that I speak to, because again, I'm hormonal as fuck. But there is one conversation I will never forget. And that is the conversation you and I had way back in the day. I think it was like August, right? Of
2 years ago, yeah.
Yeah, of 2024. And I say this, like, you were a tough sell into the program, 100%. It was not easy to get you in. And I say to the team, the clients that have the hardest time making that decision always end up being the best clients. So let's go back to that day. Because I remember that conversation so well, and I'm sure you kind of do, but I'll coach you on that. But I want to hear from the Randy that I first met 2 years ago. And where were you at, right, when we first met? Like, what made you decide to reach out?
Yeah, so it was 2 years ago. I was feeling completely frustrated. And just to back up a little bit about me, I didn't grow up as an athlete. After I had my kids, who are now 17 and 20 years old, so that was a while ago, I really felt frustrated with my body. And so that was like the first time I started working out. I started with 5K. I 10Ks, half marathons. I did triathlons. I kind of built from there. I loved like the camaraderie of doing that with my friends. And then I started doing strength training at home, like beach body workouts and stuff. I eventually joined a group fitness kettlebells gym, which I loved. So exercise became like a good part of my routine, but nutrition was always something I struggled with. I did Weight Watchers. I did Stronger You. I was kind of always in and out of struggling and trying to figure out what was going to work for me. And 2 years ago, I really felt like what I was doing was no longer working. I felt uncomfortable in my body. It was hard for me to figure out what to wear when we were going out. Like I would try on 10 different things before I found something I felt comfortable in. I felt tired. I had inflammation and joint pain. And I had a moment, which I remember telling you about. Over the summer, some friends of ours went on a little staycation at a nice hotel, and everyone was in the pool. It was super hot. And I could not get myself to take off my cover up and go in the pool with them. I like literally just could not get it off. I was so uncomfortable in my body. I went to the bathroom and just like started crying. I was so upset. I eventually did get myself in there. But after that, I was like, I have to do something about this. I had a vacation in a year and a half from that date that I was looking forward to with that group of friends to celebrate some 50th birthdays. And I knew I needed to do some work so I would feel comfortable in my own skin once we got to that point. So that's really what made me
Where
pick
you
up the
were
phone
then.
and reach
Yeah. And
out.
I love that you shared that because that was such a vulnerable moment for you to share with me on the call. And I remember, I think, hearing you tell me that, where you were like, I just couldn't. And I had like a breakdown. I had to go into the bathroom and I just like, I have to do something. I've been there myself and I share my story a lot where, for me, it was December 26th, 2019, where I looked in the mirror and I was like, I cannot, I hate the way I feel. I cannot do this anymore. And it was December 26th. I could have easily said, fuck it, I'll wait till Jan 1. But I was like, no, and not only that, I was about to go for dinner with another family. And I decided in that moment, I am not continuing like this. Like something has to change. And it seems like that to you was that moment, right? And I say a lot,
Yeah.
like what works before works no more. And you said, like, hey, I didn't consider myself an athlete, but you were an athlete in your adult life. You had, made that commitment. And I think your journey and my journey really mirrored each other a lot because for me too, like I was very athletic, but I like nutritionally something was definitely missing. And you get to this point and it's like, yeah, is it perimenopause? Is it like a combination of things are changing and I'm getting older and my kids are getting older and like just like it's not working anymore and knowing that you had to make a change. And so I don't even know if you remember this, but take me back to that call because at the end of that call, you weren't ready. You were like, I don't know. What what do you think was your hesitation? Like what was Randy then worried or concerned about?
It was a big investment, and
Yep.
I kind of was like, well, I kind of know what to do,
Yeah.
like it felt I just need some accountability. And it felt like how was I going to invest this much in myself? Like, did I really need to do this?
I know what to do. I don't need to
Yeah,
pay that much money. I can do this on
exactly.
my own, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I started thinking about, like, I would drop that money to go on a vacation with my family, or if like my kids needed any kind of like support, tutoring or extra medical support or whatever, like I wouldn't think twice
Right.
about dropping that money, or even just to like send them to camp, whatever.
Yeah.
And I was like, why won't I invest in myself?
And I think like that's very common with women, especially in our age demographic, where, you know, I'm guessing you've never invested like that in yourself before, right?
No, never.
And I remember the very first investment I made in my business, and it was $2,000. And I thought I was going to throw up. And I was like, oh my God. And I say this, like, I was actually calculating, I've spent close to $100,000 in investing in my business, US, I should
Wow.
say. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Because I just made another investment and I was like, holy shit. But when you start investing in yourself, you start to see your return on investment very quickly. But for most women, yourself included, myself included, we've never actually spent that on ourselves before. But and then to hear it, you're like, why would I pay someone to tell me what to do when I know what to do? Like, I know what to do, but then you're probably also thinking, what if I knew what to do? Then I wouldn't be in the bathroom trying to hide, right?
Exactly. Exactly. And I started to think, like, because I know myself, like if I do invest in this, like I'm gonna really do this.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna half-ass it. Like I've done a lot of programs where it was not a lot of
Yeah.
money, and I kind of half-assed it.
Yeah. You have skin in the game. It's a different game, right? When you have skin in the
Hmm.
game, you do show up for yourself. And
Yeah.
I think that so many women listening, like we've all done the Weight Watchers. We've all done the quick fix, the 9.99 a month apps and everything. And you're like, yeah, like I could just go and do that. And yet I have women who come back to me a year later. Like imagine that could have been you, right? Because when we first talked, you kind of had that like, I mean, I don't know. I don't think I need this. Like we could have had another conversation in a year where you're 10 pounds heavier and, now you never show the world yourself, which is where a lot of women are when they come into the program. So I remember, I think a month later, we were talking, and you still weren't really in that like ready to go phase. It was still like, it was almost like you were saying to me, "Hey, Elise, like, why can't I do this on my own?" And I think that like that's a frustrating thing as a woman because we're fucking awesome, right? We do a lot of hard shit, and it can be very humbling to say like I can't do something this quote unquote simple. And a lot of women will say, like, even their husbands will give them pushback where they're like, do you really need to spend that kind of money just to have someone tell you, like, don't you know what to do? And
Yeah.
the argument is like, I know what to do, but like, I don't know how to do it. Like, I know it's kind of like the doctor, that think of like a smoker goes to the doctor and the smoker's coughing and the doctor's like, well, you got to quit smoking. And the guy's like, I know, but like how? And it's like, just stop smoking.
Right. But I also thought I knew what to do as far as exercise. Like I thought when I joined this program, like, well, I don't really need your help with the
I
exercise.
think you
Like I
actually
got
told us that. You were like, "I don't want your programming."
yeah. I was like, I'm just gonna focus on the nutrition because I'm like good on the
Yeah, I got this.
exercise. Because I really thought I was. I mean, like I still go to my kettlebells gym and like, I swing heavy weight, I'm lifting heavy weight. And I was like, what is she gonna do differently? Like I'm doing the thing. But that totally changed.
Yeah, because you probably weren't lifting with the same intensity, and like I say, we find the sweet spot. So, okay, we get back on the second call. What made you decide to pull the trigger? What made you just decide to like, because I always say, um, when women come into the program, I don't take for granted that they're gambling on me, right? Like it's my name, it's my brand. What made you decide to trust me?
I mean, I think my weight continued to go up. I like nothing was changing. I was continuing to struggle and I felt like enough was enough. And I was ready to like invest in myself and just go all in.
You're like, I'm fucking doing this. I'm going to do
Yeah.
this. I'm going to go all in and let's see kind of where I can go. Okay. So tell us about the first 90 days. What was the first, do you remember your first 90
It's hard
days?
to remember. I have like perimenopausal brain. But I will say, and maybe this will be a theme that we tap into later in the conversation, but I am like very goal oriented.
Mm,
So when I like I'm in, I'm all in.
yeah.
So I was like absorbing everything. And I still do like try to listen to all the calls. I, did all my check-ins. I listened to all the advice my coach gave me. I was just like a sponge. And I was really on point, like to the plan. And that meant I started seeing results pretty quickly. And I was like really enjoying how I was feeling. It wasn't just like about the number on the scale. It was more so about like just my brain was getting clearer. Like I was having more energy, like the puffiness, in the back of my neck. I had this like lump of inflammation starting to form. That was like starting to go away. And like my feet pain in the morning was like starting to go away. And I was like, oh, this is really working. So the more I was seeing results, the more I was motivated to continue.
Yeah, we always say like from our standpoint, like from the coaching side, and I say to the team, like if we can get our clients to feel better really quick, then the buy-in is like there, right? Because like as soon as you start feeling better, you're like, oh my God, I'm recognizing this feeling. I forgot how good it feels to actually feel good in my body.
Yeah.
So, okay, so this was your 90 days. What made you, because after our 90-day, which is our 4 function hormonal renewal, we have Vitality. Vitality is the program right after where we continue on to the 5 phases of our client journey. So, tell me a little bit about what made you decide to continue on Vitality, or was it just like, yeah, it was a no brainer?
It was a no-brainer for me. I mean, I felt like I was not done. I wanted to continue on the journey. I was loving the weightlifting part of it
Yeah,
and like
baby.
continuing to like increase my weights. So I just like I was ready to like dive in and set bigger goals for myself. I also still had that vacation that it was a year and a half after I had joined. So I had that in the back of my brain that I really wanted to like continue to like stay dialed in. So when that vacation came, I really felt confident in my body and excited for the trip and not like nervous and stressed out that I was going to feel uncomfortable in my body. Yeah. So I was like ready to
You're all
keep
in.
going.
Tell me what it was like when you started seeing your muscles.
It's so funny because like I have been working out for a long time and I've been doing this kettlebells program for a long time and I'm strong, but it always frustrated me that like it's like my little secret.
Yeah.
Nobody really knows that I'm strong. So once I started to see like my shoulders and arm definition, like I love it.
Yeah,
I
right.
love that tone sculpted look, and it's something I continue to strive for. So the more I was starting to see them popped, the more excited I was to keep going.
And I remember seeing your pictures and you're like, baby, look at the pump, right?
Yes.
And that also mirrors me because one of my frustrations that I had, and I've been working in the fitness industry since I'm like fresh out of university, like 24 years old. And people would say to me, do you work out? And I'd be like, go fuck yourself up a tree right now. Like I I am a trainer, I'm a teacher, like I do all this shit. But the truth is that, and I talked about this often, where a lot of women will come on the call and be like, well, just like you, they're like, I don't need help with the exercise. Like they'll cherry pick what they need. I just need nutrition. And I'm like, why do you think you just need nutrition? And they're like, well, because I can't seem to lose this weight. It's coming from nutrition. My workouts are solid. And I'm like, okay, if I looked at you, would I be able to tell you work out? Right. And it comes down to like what you think is working isn't necessarily working for you anymore. Most women coming into the program haven't found that sweet spot of activity where they just think, in order for me to see muscle definition, I just need to work out more or harder, right? Not necessarily tweak the kind of training. So that's super common for myself as well. All right. So now you're starting to see muscle, your body's changing. Tell me a little bit about how is this changing for you as Randy? Like how is Randy changing in your life? Did it
Yeah.
change like how you showed up for your family, your friends? Tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah, no, I have more confidence in myself, just like overall, like in social situations, I was definitely like, before I started the program, like just starting to feel uncomfortable all around. And now I just like kind of shoulders are back, like I'm back in building my confidence again and feeling just like a little bit more chatty and outgoing. I definitely had like more patience and just overall calm with my family. I wasn't as stressed because like I was sleeping better. I was drinking more water. It was like all these things were coming into place that was just helping me just with my overall well-being, and that was helping me be a better parent.
Well, so
My
let me ask you that. Was there any point in this journey today where your husband or your kids were like, I really wish you didn't do this?
no.
I know it's such an obvious question, but like, remember the Randy at the beginning was like, oh my God, I'm going to spend this money on myself and like kind of feel bad about that. But like, did it affect your family in any way, shape, or form where they're like, shit, I really wish you weren't so confident and strong. And I wish you were more reactive and tired all the time?
No, in fact, they like love that I was cooking great meals because I was like so dialed in with my nutrition and planning. Like we were eating better as a family. My husband was actually seeing the results for himself because our fridge was like well stocked.
That
And
always happens, by the way, where they're like, well, I've lost 5 pounds, but my husband's lost 10.
I know. No, they love it and they're super supportive, and it like inspires my kids. Like I'm very excited. My son's in college and he just joined a gym, and
Yeah.
so they're watching.
This is awesome. Okay,
Yeah.
so tell me a little bit about the big thing that you did that landed
Yeah.
you on my spotlight on my Instagram for like a year and a half.
I remember last December we were just talking on one of the calls about like setting goals and setting specific goals, and like I kept talking about like I want to see my muscles. But that's not like a specific goal. How do you like measure that? And so I think it was Coach Christine who made the suggestion. Why not a fitness photo shoot, which is something I have never thought about. Um, but I thought about it for a second. I was like, okay, let's do that. And I got some other people from my gym, my local gym, to do it as well. And it gave me like another goal point to reach for. It was last October that I did it, so about a year
A year
ago.
ago. Holy shit, it's
Um,
been a year. Wow. Okay,
yeah,
cool.
it's time for another one.
Yeah, right? We're going to do one
No,
together.
but it really gave me another goal. Like I was like, okay, I'm gonna be in front of the camera in 9 months. Like now I really gotta get dialed in. Setting goals really works for me.
Yeah. Yeah, I know that. Okay, so I always say you went from hiding behind the bathroom stall in your cover up, not wanting to take it off, to doing a photo shoot, a fitness photo shoot, showing off your muscles, being on my Instagram page, like just kind of putting yourself out there. Um Okay. So you're listening and you're like, Randy's amazing and she's so perfect. And I could never be like that. All right, buckle up, buttercups, because now we're gonna get into the reality of what I always say happens, which
Yeah.
is,
I
do you
mean,
know?
literally, I got home from the fitness photo shoot and remember like eating cookies and candy corn because I was like, "Yay, I did
I
it!"
did it. Check.
And then I like had to like dial in again because my that vacation was coming up, and then after that vacation, like it mentally was like, check, done. Like, and I kind of did what historically I've done in the past. And that was just like started to loosen up on my habits, thinking that like I know how to do this now. Like I don't have to follow the rules exactly as
Yeah.
planned. But then like the old habits started slipping in. Like instead of planning and making a nice salad for lunch or just a well-balanced lunch, I was like grabbing a yogurt and an apple. Or like I was putting my hands in this in the chips bag.
Well, if you have an apple and yogurt for lunch, then you're gonna put your hand in the chip bag after
Yeah,
that, right? Like it's
exactly.
yeah.
Exactly. I mean, I
Yep.
wasn't, so there were periods of time like I wasn't eating enough, and then I was
Yep.
overeating on carbs, under eating on protein. I wasn't drinking enough water. I was just like, so slowly, like the weight started creeping up. And then slowly I started having like inflammation and joint pain issues and like all these other symptoms. Again, my clothes were not fitting as well, and I was getting frustrated. And I was like, oh my God, what am I doing? And that's when I like picked up the phone and was like, all right, I need a coach again. So we went back, and that was in June. It's now October when we're recording this. And I am so grateful that I called when I did, because I can only imagine what summer would have done to me, or what I would have
Yeah.
done to refocused had I not refocused and had some accountability. And I'm just realizing that I need to continue to practice, and I'll continue to get better at it.
Yeah, and I so appreciate you sharing that, because I think people listening are like, well, it would work for her, but it wouldn't work for me, right? And I think that being we're really good at repeating patterns because that's how our brain works. So when we make changes, it's so much harder to make a change in your 40s and 50s than it is in your 20s and 30s, because you've got 40 some plus years of practice. And what I always say is the first time you practice maintenance, you will fuck it up. 100% you'll fuck it up. So the way our program works is we start with 90 days. And I like to say it's kind of like, let's date before we get married. I do like to prove that we're really good at what we do. And so that it's a no brainer to continue on with us. And typically, vitality is a little bit more customized in length. And so some women are in it for 9 months, some are 15 months. For the longest time, 12 to 15 months was about average. But now most women are with us 15 to 18 months on average. Why? Okay. So you're like, why do I have to commit to so long? Well, because like Randy, at some point, those old habits are going to likely creep back in, because your body will seek comfort at some point. We're humans. We're designed physiologically to overeat. And if you're someone like Randy who likes to set goals, then like we have to teach you what happens after you hit that goal, because it's really exciting. And you look at, women who are like competitors and they're bodybuilding and they're doing all this like physique style competitions, they diet down and then they explode out, right? It's like, hey, we have to teach you what happens after you achieve a goal. Does the next goal have to be sexy like a photo shoot, or can the next goal be, I want to maintain this? Maintenance is not sexy. Maintenance is hard. Like I said, most people will fuck it up the first time, and it does require practice. And it's not as sexy because you're not necessarily seeing fast changes. You're seeing more body recomposition over time. But it's the work that needs to get done. And I think a lot of women feel like I shouldn't need to have a coach to do this, right? It's like we have a lot of women that even in the first 90 days, they drop like 20 pounds and they're like, great, I hit my goal, I'm done. And I'm like, it's so hard to get them to stay because they're so happy. And then 6 months later, I'm getting a phone call like I shouldn't have left the program. I just, brought back another woman into Vitality who's gone for 2 years, right? And same kind of thing. It's like, shit, I shouldn't have stopped. And so I want to kind of normalize a little bit the fact that this is going to take longer than you want and then you think it should take, right? Most women are like, well, I should lose a pound a week. So by the end of the 90 days, I should be down to my goal weight and I should be good. It's like, well, in a perfect world, yes. But now we're talking about hormones and we're talking about life and life cycles. And like you said, you had a kid go to college and what that was like for you. And, everyone around you's turning 50. So you're having these big milestone birthdays. And then what happens after? So tell me a little bit about what's the next goal for Randy?
The goal is to not have a goal, to like learn how to live and just be, and not always be chasing a goal. I think I need to work on this like all or nothing mindset.
Yeah.
So that is really a big challenge for me.
And I know we talked about that, you and I,
Yeah, I mean,
right? Yeah.
I do really well when I have a very specific goal and I create a plan and I like execute the plan. That's just like my personality. But that's not always life. And I want to just get really good at just this being how I live my life. And I've gotten better at it. I look back at 2 years from now, I'm like, there are things that I've changed and they're non-negotiables for me.
Yeah.
Like my breakfast, I used to skip or just grab a protein bar. Now it's like my favorite meal of the day. I get at least 30, 40 grams of protein and, 10 to 15 grams of fiber. It's beautiful. It's delicious. I do not skip that.
Right.
And
So
that
you
is
don't
something
think
like,
about breakfast anymore. You're
no.
like, I have mastered breakfast. And so now it's like the next thing. And, just to like step back into the goals, because I'm a lot like you too. I like to have a goal as well. But just because like you can have a goal, but it might look like, what is a goal? It could be subjective. So your goal might not be, hey, I'm training for something. I want to do a photo shoot, or I want to go on this beach vacation. I want to fit into the size, 4 dress, whatever it is. The goal could be, I I want to get out of this all or nothing mindset. I really want to crack down on mindset. I want a healthy relationship with food. I want to be able to go out for dinner and not overthink. I just want to be able to like eat but not overeat. For me, um and I really actually don't have a goal right now when it comes to right now, the like October 7th we're recording, I don't have a goal physique. I think for me, my physique since my goal since like May up until now has been to have a healthy relationship with my body and with food. Sometimes when I go a little bit too deep into physique training as a goal, where I'm like, I want to look a certain way, I notice my relationship to my body starting to change. And I don't like that because I talked about this. I think I recorded this yesterday, or I might have said this in a community call. I can't remember where I was talking, but I was saying like, I am comfortable in my body and that is where I want to stay. Could I be a smaller version of myself? Yes. When I look in the mirror, do I get frustrated that I'm not that smaller version of myself sometimes? Absolutely. I'm human. Okay. But I also like ate some chips today with lunch and I wanted to. And I have ice cream with my kids and I love French fries. So when I go out for dinner, which is so rare, I want to have those French fries. And I've had times where I haven't done that, right? Where I've been like, nope, not having that because it's not part of the plan. And I'm like, I just, that's my goal right now is to, get into that without gaining weight. So then it becomes, okay, it's this constant need for feedback where, if you get a little bit loose with your nutrition and exercise, you're just kind of going, okay, it's not a big deal. Like it's just a cookie here and it's just a bag of chips. And it's like, okay, it's just French fries. And then all of a sudden, like you said, you start to feel inflamed. You start to feel foggy. Your sleep isn't the same. And you're like, what I
Yeah.
do, right? And that's immediate feedback of like, okay, now I went a little bit too far in this direction. I've got to bring it back in here. And having that accountability with a coach, someone who really wants to help you get out of that, like who has in her best interest, your best interest, is just so valuable, especially in this stage of life, right? Where you feel
Yeah.
like, I don't know about you, but there's so much that is changing around us, right? Like you see your skin change, you see your hair change, you see like people are getting sick, people are dying. Like we are entering this midlife stage and it can feel it's change. Change is scary.
Yeah. I do have a pull-up goal. I
Yeah,
really would
baby.
like to be able to do a pull-up. So that is one strength goal. But yeah, for me, it's the same way I said to my coach the other day that like I'm feeling good. Like the other day I had to like quickly get a dress on for a special occasion and I hadn't thought about what I was going to wear. And I literally like went upstairs, grabbed something, put it on, was downstairs in like 5 minutes. I didn't have to think about it. I didn't have to buy a new dress because I needed a new size. And I was like, this feels good. I mean, I'm at a place where like I can really put on anything in my closet and feel good. And I'm not like super restrictive. I'm not super strict. So I
Yeah.
am like enjoying. So I love the balance, but I am just like in a mode where I'm practicing maintenance, and that
And
is
how does that
not
feel?
easy.
Because so many women will say to me, I open up my closet and I have nothing to wear. And you've probably experienced that too before you started, where you were probably, like you said, like I had to try on so many outfits to make it
Yeah.
work. What's it like to just throw on clothes and go?
I'm telling you, like it really relieves like a bit of stress that I carried for a very long time. It feels so good to be able to just wear whatever I want in my closet and like put on a t-shirt and not worry that like it makes my stomach look fat or whatever. I'm even like wearing like shorter shirts,
Yeah,
you
you
know, like crop
sexy girl.
style shirts. Yeah. No, and I do like I feel sexier. I feel more confident in myself.
Does your husband notice? Not necessarily your physique changes, but like, does he notice how more confident and comfortable you are
Yeah,
in your body?
absolutely. Yeah. And he like honestly like he thinks I'm stronger than him. There are times where he's like, can you do this? Because like I got a bad back, you know? And I love those moments. I love
Yeah.
like when I can practice my strength in like real life situations. I help my son like move a dresser because my husband was like, nah, I got a bad back. So
It's a little badass, isn't it?
yeah, absolutely.
And I
Yeah,
think
I like
like, we're approaching 50. So we're like, okay, I know that if I don't keep this up, I'm going to lose it. And, you've seen this around you. I'm sure you have friends that are just like, I can't do this and I can't do that. And this hurts and that hurts. Right. And yet you're on the other side being like, I'll do it. I'll lift it. I'll carry it. I
Yes,
can get this.
exactly. We were at a friend's lake house and they had just gotten some new big, heavy wooden Adirondack chairs that they needed to move down from the house down to the lake.
Those are heavy.
And
Those are solid wood. I
they're
have two.
really heavy. And I was like, well, do you want help? I'll do it. And I like, took, carried one and went down. Then I went back up and carried another one. And the guys were just like looking at me like, okay.
Yeah.
I think
Your
that was
husband's like, that's my
surprising to
girl.
them. Yeah. So I love those real life situations where I can like kind of show off my strength.
It's pretty awesome as a woman to be strong and confident like that. And I think that it is a good role model. I remember when my kids were like little, and your kids go to school and they tell their teacher everything about like so many things. And you're like, don't tell your teachers that. I once had a teacher say, like, I heard you're really strong. I think it was Owen was telling me that like you look like a bodybuilder. And I was like, oh, okay. I'm like, he's not wrong. And I know
Oh, I
like for
love
me
that.
too, like I always have this like I think all my kids, their goal is to like outwork me in some capacity in the gym. And I'm like, go for it, right? I've got two boys. Like they should be outworking me at some point. But
Yeah.
nothing is better than that feeling of really just being strong.
Yeah.
Um,
One of the other things I wanted to mention was like, besides the all or nothing mindset, another hurdle for me is just like thinking like I deserve to just eat like
yeah.
normally. I've worked so hard. I just like, I don't want to plan and track. And I think I've realized that like the women that I look at that I'm like, I want to look like that, like that are like toned and sculpted and strong, like sad to say, but they probably plan and track and are like really
Yeah.
thoughtful about what they eat and they probably eat really well. They're not eating crap.
Right. Yeah.
So if
We
I
call
want to
them the
look like that,
1%, right? Like
yeah,
if you want to look like the others don't look, which is like most of the people around you, you've got to do what they don't do. And, I did a call on this. I have a podcast on this. I'm sure you've listened to this where I've talked about redefining what restriction is,
yeah,
right? So it's like, hey, um, a lot of people are like, I want to lose weight, but I don't want to be restricted. Elise, I don't want to be restricted. Okay. I want to be able to have whatever I want to have. Okay. Cause like I want to be able to go out and enjoy dinners with my husband and I want to go on vacations and I just want to eat what I want. And I was like, So you're going to stay fat and inflamed your whole life. Like, I'm sorry. That's just not how it works. Like, I got, my son has type 1 diabetes. He has to be responsible with food. He can't just eat whatever. The people say can eat whatever he wants. I mean, I always say, like, to a degree, but like, should you be like, none of us should be, eating whatever we want whenever we want. Like, I mean, we're not children here. We are grown-ups. We have to have some sort of discipline, and we can say no to ourselves. And I had this conversation once with a client who had that mentality of like, I deserve this, and I had such a hard day. And I was like, hey, when's the last time you said no to yourself? And she's
Yeah.
like, well, I mean, I was just like really tired. So I just skipped my workout. And I was like, all right, well, like, how's that working for you? And she's like, yeah, it's not really working.
Is that working?
Right? So like, what if restriction meant never going out? But being disciplined meant I go out less. And when I do go out, I don't eat, quote unquote, whatever I want, because then I'll be back to where I was and I'm not comfortable being there.
Yeah. You talk about a lot about French fries, and it's funny because like that would be a food that like historically I would be like, I don't eat French fries. I can't eat French fries. But like I actually really like French fries. And like, you talk
I
about how
knew
much you
it.
love them. So then I think about them all the time. And so, but now like I let myself have some
Yeah.
fries. And it's like it's okay. Like I'll even order fries for the table
Yeah.
and like I'll have a few. I'm not going to eat the whole thing, but it does like relieve that like all or nothing mindset.
Right.
Like, and it really helps me like actually like live my life and enjoy some treats now and again. Or same thing like for an ice cream. Like sometimes I'll get, if my family's getting an ice cream, I usually would no,
Never.
I wouldn't order
Yeah.
it. But like now sometimes I'll order a kitty scoop and maybe I'll eat half of it and I'll throw the rest away. Or
Yeah.
or
And
maybe I
let's be
won't eat the whole
honest.
thing.
Those of us, let's just be so honest here. You're like, I go out and I'm not going to have an ice cream because I'm going to be good. What the fuck happens when you get home?
Right. You're
Like, what do
you're
you fucking eat? Like,
you're
don't
eating.
even lie to me. I know you eat it all, right? Because I do too. You're like, I'm going to be so good and I'm not going to have the ice cream or I'm not going to order the fries. And then you come home and you're like, well, I was so good and I didn't order fries. So the next day I'm like, well, I might as well have this because yesterday I was so good and I deserve to have that, right? It's just like
Yeah.
this mind game of the all or nothing mentality. I know, like, for me, that was a huge thing. I say that's all the time. It took me 4 years to stop eating like an asshole on the weekends because it was that all or nothing mentality. And now I can confidently and comfortably say, wherever I am, wherever I go, I'm going to likely eat the same. I'm going to eat the same, meaning like Sunday night, I barbecued burgers. I made burgers. I'm traveling tomorrow. I'm probably going to have burger and fries in some capacity on my trip. But I'll also probably have a chicken salad. Like, I'm not going to, it's not like a free for all. Whereas before, when I went on vacation, it was like free for all, weekend
Yeah.
free for all. Like, we work so hard. It's like, it's like payday. Let's go spend all our money. It's like, or we could save it.
Yeah. And I think that reminds me of like one other hurdle for me is like because of this all or nothing mindset, like I'll be like all in, like super dialed in, like super kind of perfect, quote unquote. Um, and with my nutrition, and then like I'll have a vacation or a life event or whatever, and it'll throw me off course a little bit. And historically, like that would be like, oh, throw it up in the air. Like,
Fuck
I
it.
give up. I suck at this. And just give up. And now I'm getting with more practice under my belt, like getting better at like, okay, on the flight home, I'm going to work on an Instacart order so I can have groceries at my door when I get home and I'll be like all set to jump back in to my regular routine that the following morning and just go and like, don't worry about what happened on vacation, but just like jump right back in.
Well, and this brings up, or I talked to the community about this last month, but I'm going to talk more about it in this upcoming month and next month, which is the idea of being resilient. And resiliency is like how quickly you can return back to baseline. But when we actually look at what really is resilience, it's not how quickly you go back, it's how quickly you adapt to your environment and the changes in your environment. So like you know, if you just decided, okay, well, when I get home, I'm going to, like, from vacation, I'm going to like stay up late and go get groceries and then I'm going to come home. You're like, okay, I have to adapt. So like, how can I make the lifestyle that I want match where I am right now? I'm going to Instacart this shit home so that it's ready to go. And I'm going to already have a plan. That is being adaptable. That is like saying, hey, this is my environment now and this is what I need to be. And so we talk about that is like, you have to practice, you have to have reps under your belt. Like any new skill, it's just, I mean, I use this analogy a lot, but like if I put a guitar in your hand and you never played it before, I wouldn't be like, play Bob Marley. You'd be like, the fuck do I hold a guitar? Right. You have to practice and practice and practice. And the first time it's not going to sound great. You're probably going to perform in front of people and you're going to fuck up and you're going to forget things. And then you're like, okay. Right. So like, why would it be any different when it comes to making a huge lifestyle change and making the commitment of getting out of this all or nothing mentality? Because it's still going to be there, right? And that's always going to kind of feel like the default. It's just practicing this like in between, this feeling of, you know what, like my clothes fit me. It took me 5 minutes to get dressed. I wasn't like sitting in a pile of clothes crying because nothing ever fit me. And I'm feeling pretty good. So like that's a great feeling to have. Like I could live here. If I stayed here forever, I'd be so happy about it, right? But then I
Yeah.
also recognize cycles and seasons in life. I'm sure there'll be a time I'll be talking about this podcast where I'm like, yeah, I want to drop 5 pounds and here's how I'm going to do it. But like for me right now, like you, like I remember what it was like when I used to travel and packing stressed me the fuck out because I had to try on everything to make sure that it fit because I wasn't going to pack shit that wasn't going to fit. Now I'm packing and I'm like, no, this, I'm not even trying shit on. I know it's going to fit. And for someone who pulls out their clothes every single day. And I'm sure you're listening to this and you're just like, that's me. You know, when you're on the other side of it, that is so amazing is to just pull shit out and be like, I trust that this fits. Like,
Yeah, same. Like packing for me is a lot quicker for
yeah,
trips.
it makes
I
it
don't have to
easier,
try on
right?
everything. I just know like what's going to fit and what's not. So it's just easier.
All right, let's wrap this up. Tell me, what would you say to someone who was the Randy before, the Randy that I spoke to 2 years ago? What would you say to her or someone like her? Let's say they're listening and they're saying the exact same thing. They're like, this is an investment. I don't need to quote unquote make an investment. I know I can do this myself. I just got to figure it out. I know what I need to do. Like, what would you say to that person who also knows at the same time, kind of like you did, where you're like, but I'm stuck?
You deserve this. You can do this. You can do hard things. It is so worth it for you and for all the people who you support and who surround you. You are undoubtedly going to feel better and be so happy you did. There's not anything you will regret about diving in and investing in yourself and like taking the time. You only get one life. You only get one body. Can't trade it in for a new one. And it's so worth it to just take care of it while you can and ensure a better, brighter life for you, for yourself. You're going to love it.
I love that. And like I asked you, like, do you regret investing in yourself and feeling amazing?
Nope. I do not. I do
Right.
not.
And it's like and like it's the same thing. Like I say to my husband, I'm sure you're not upset by the fact that like I have a nice healthy sex drive and I'm feeling good and you get to rock out this body with me. Like I'm sure like he's not saying, gee, I really wish you'd spend less time on yourself and like
Right.
not
No.
I really wish you would stop prioritizing yourself, please. Right. Like I'm sure your husband's not saying that either, right?
No. No, it's
Well,
so
thanks
worth it.
so much for joining me today and getting vulnerable. And if you're listening and you resonate with Randy and you're like, that's me, we can help you. I want to talk to you about how we can help. So go ahead, send me a message on social. I'll put all the links below. And if you are not already a subscriber to the podcast, make sure you subscribe. If you're watching this, then make sure you subscribe on the YouTube and let me know how this lands. And if you have any questions for Randy, I'm sure she would love to answer them as well. But I will see you guys on the next one.